I am Jarvis, your storyteller. Welcome to the Science Fiction Exploration. If you like the story, please subscribe to our channel. The Ancient Echo. Dr. Nadia Patel stood motionless in the dimly lit cave, her headlamp illuminating what could be the most significant archaeological discovery of the century. The limestone walls of the Carpathian cave system had preserved something extraordinary, not just cave paintings or tools, but what appeared to be the oldest musical instruments ever found. "Professor Joe, you need to see this," she called out, her voice echoing through the ancient chamber. Her colleague, Dr. Jun Zhou, carefully made his way through the narrow passage, his experienced eyes widening at the sight before them. Arranged in a semicircle were several hollow bones, carefully drilled with precise holes. Next to them lay what appeared to be primitive drums made from stretched animal hide and wooden frames, preserved by the cave's unique mineral composition. But most intriguing was a collection of stalactites that showed clear signs of deliberate modification. They had been shaped to produce specific tones when struck. "This changes everything," Jun whispered, his flashlight beam dancing across the prehistoric orchestra. "The dating on this chamber puts it at roughly 30,000 years ago. That's nearly twice as old as our previous earliest musical evidence." Nadia carefully photographed each instrument's position before beginning the painstaking process of documentation. As she worked, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The cave seemed to hold memories, echoes of ancient ceremonies and gatherings that had taken place in this very chamber. The team's acoustics specialist, Dr. Marcus Blackwood, arrived the next day with his equipment. His weathered face lit up with childlike wonder as he examined the instruments. "These aren't just random noisemakers," he explained, scanning the bone flutes with ultrasonic equipment. "The spacing of these holes, they're mathematically precise. Whoever made these understood harmonics." Over the next few weeks, the team made extraordinary discoveries. The cave walls contained not just art depicting musical performances, but what appeared to be a primitive form of musical notation, dots and lines that corresponded to rhythms and tones. It was the birth of written music, millennia before anyone had imagined possible. But the most stunning revelation came when Marcus recreated one of the bone flutes using 3D printing technology. The sound it produced was hauntingly beautiful, a clear, pure tone that seemed to resonate with something deep within the human psyche. "Listen to this," Marcus said one evening, demonstrating a sequence of notes derived from the cave's notation. The melody was simple but profound, stirring emotions that transcended time. The team sat in silence as the ancient notes filled the chamber, each lost in their own thoughts about the ancestors who had first played these sounds. Dr. Esther Okoro, the team's evolutionary musicologist, developed a groundbreaking theory. "These instruments weren't just for entertainment," she explained during a team meeting in their base camp. "The complexity and precision suggest that music played a crucial role in early human cognitive development. It might have been as important as language in our evolution." As news of their discovery spread through the scientific community, researchers from diverse fields began arriving at the site. Neuroscientists discovered that the frequencies produced by the ancient instruments triggered unique patterns of brain activity. Anthropologists found evidence that similar musical gatherings had occurred across prehistoric human settlements, suggesting a shared cultural practice that predated known civilizations. The implications were staggering. This wasn't just the discovery of ancient instruments. It was evidence that music had been fundamental to human development from our earliest beginnings. The cave had preserved not just tools and bones, but the birthplace of human artistic expression. One evening, as the sun set outside the cave entrance, Nadia sat alone in the chamber. She closed her eyes and imagined the scene 30,000 years ago, firelight dancing on the walls, voices raised in song, the community gathered to share in something that transcended mere survival. In that moment, she understood that they had discovered more than artifacts. They had found a connection to the very essence of what made us human. The first phase of their research was drawing to a close, but Nadia knew this was just the beginning. The ancient echo they had uncovered would resonate far beyond the scientific community, challenging our understanding of human consciousness and creativity. What they didn't know yet was that these primordial songs would soon attract attention from far beyond Earth, leading humanity toward an unexpected destiny among the stars. Resonance through time. The research facility outside Budapest hummed with activity as Dr. Marcus Blackwood made final adjustments to the sophisticated array of equipment surrounding the recreated ancient instruments. 3 months had passed since the cave discovery, and the team had moved their work to a controlled environment where they could conduct more detailed analysis. The frequency patterns are unlike anything in our modern musical scales, Marcus explained to the assembled researchers. He gestured to a holographic display showing complex waveforms. These harmonics seem to resonate at frequencies that directly interact with human neural patterns. Dr. Esther Okoro leaned forward, her eyes fixed on the brain scan results from their volunteer subjects. "Look at this activation in the limbic system," she said, pointing to a particular graph. When exposed to the reconstructed melodies, participants show increased activity in regions associated with emotional processing and memory formation. But there's something else, patterns we've never seen before. The team had brought in Dr. Viktor Petrov, a quantum physicist whose unorthodox theories about consciousness had once made him an outsider in the scientific community. Now, his expertise was proving invaluable. "These vibrations," he said, his voice carrying a hint of his Russian accent, "they create standing waves in the quantum field of human consciousness. The ancient humans may have stumbled upon something fundamental about the nature of reality itself." Nadia watched as their latest test subject, a young musician named Thomas Chen, sat within the circle of reconstructed instruments. As the bone flutes began to play their ancient melody, enhanced by the cave-like acoustics they had recreated in the lab, Thomas's eyes widened. His hands moved instinctively, finding rhythms that seemed to complement the prehistoric song perfectly. "It's like I can see them," Thomas whispered, his fingers still dancing in the air. "Not just images, but feelings, memories that aren't mine. A circle of people, firelight, stars wheeling overhead. The music, it's alive." Dr. Jun Zhou had been documenting similar responses from other musicians exposed to the ancient instruments. "We're seeing a pattern," he reported. "Musicians from different cultural backgrounds all report similar visions. Some even begin playing rhythms and melodies that match the notations we found in the cave, despite never having seen them." The implications were staggering. The team began to theorize that these ancient songs weren't just music. They were a form of encoded information, passing through time via the universal language of harmony and rhythm. But what message were our ancestors trying to send? Dr. Petrov's instruments detected something else: subtle quantum entanglement effects between the ancient instruments and the brains of those who played them. "It's as if these songs were designed to create specific patterns in consciousness," he explained during a late-night analysis session. "Perhaps our ancestors understood something about the nature of reality that we're only now rediscovering." The breakthrough came unexpectedly. During a session combining multiple instruments, including the modified stalactites, the team recorded what they initially thought was equipment interference. But Dr. Blackwood recognized it as something else entirely: a pattern of frequencies that seemed to emerge from the intersection of all the different tones. "It's like a key," Nadia realized, examining the data. "These instruments weren't meant to be played individually. They're parts of a larger whole, a symphony that creates something greater than the sum of its parts." Working through the night, the team used computer modeling to reconstruct the complete ancient performance. As the sun rose over the Hungarian countryside, they gathered in the acoustic chamber for the first full demonstration. The bone flutes began their melody, joined by the rhythmic pulse of the prehistoric drums. The stalactite xylophone added its crystalline voice, and something extraordinary happened. The air in the chamber seemed to thicken, filled with visible patterns of standing waves that shouldn't have been possible. Everyone present felt a profound shift in their consciousness, a sensation of connection not just to each other, but to something vast and ancient. "Time isn't linear for consciousness," Dr. Petrov said quietly, watching the patterns dance in the air. "These frequencies, they're creating a bridge across millennia, Our ancestors found a way to speak to us directly through the quantum nature of consciousness itself. As the final notes faded, the team sat in stunned silence. They had just experienced something that challenged the foundations of physics, neuroscience, and human history. But they couldn't know that their discovery was resonating far beyond Earth, creating ripples in the cosmic consciousness that would soon bring unexpected visitors to our world. In her office later that night, Nadia reviewed the data from their experiment. Hidden in the complex harmonics, she could have sworn she saw patterns that looked like star charts, though unlike any constellation visible from Earth. As she pondered this mystery, a message arrived that would change everything. Astronomers had detected unusual signals from deep space, signals that somehow matched the frequencies of humanity's first songs. The universal language. The International Space Agency's main conference room was packed with scientists, military officials, and government representatives from around the world. Dr. Nadia Patel stood at the podium, her heart racing as she prepared to reveal the connection between their prehistoric musical discovery and the mysterious signals from space. 2 weeks ago, the Deep Space Array detected a series of precisely modulated frequencies from the direction of the Pleiades star cluster, she began, bringing up a visualization of the signal pattern. These frequencies match, with incredible precision, the harmonic patterns we discovered in the ancient instruments from the Carpathian cave system. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the lead astronomer who had first detected the signals, stepped forward to present her findings. The transmission appears to be a response, she explained, her quiet voice carrying authority. Something out there recognized the quantum resonance patterns created by our experiments and sent back a reply. The room erupted in whispered conversations and hurried consultations. Admiral Helena Rodriguez, representing the United Nations Space Command, raised the question everyone was thinking. Are we certain these signals aren't a natural phenomenon? Dr. Viktor Petrov brought up a new set of equations on the display. The mathematical precision is undeniable, he said. These are conscious communications using the quantum harmonic principles we discovered in the ancient instruments. But there's more. The signals are becoming stronger and more complex. Over the next few days, a pattern emerged. Each time the research team performed their reconstructed ancient symphony, the alien responses grew more sophisticated. Dr. Marcus Blackwood's acoustic analysis revealed layers of information encoded within the harmonics, mathematical constants, atomic structures, and what appeared to be navigational coordinates. In a secure underground facility, Dr. Jun Zhou worked with cryptographers to decode the alien messages. "They're teaching us their language," he announced during an emergency briefing. "Not through words or symbols, but through pure mathematical relationships expressed in music. The ancient instruments weren't just tools for making sound. They were keys to unlocking interstellar communication." The implications stunned the scientific community. Had early humans been in contact with alien civilizations? Did our ancestors encode this knowledge into musical instruments, preserving it until humanity developed the technology to understand its true significance? Dr. Esther Okoro proposed a controversial theory. The development of music in human culture wasn't just about artistic expression, she explained to a panel of experts. It was a directed evolution of our consciousness, preparing us for this moment. The aliens didn't just contact our ancestors, they helped shape our species' cognitive development through the universal language of harmony. As the team worked to decode more of the alien messages, they made another breakthrough. Dr. Tanaka discovered that the signals contained instructions for building what appeared to be a more advanced version of their experimental acoustic chamber. "They're offering to show us how to enhance the quantum resonance effect," she explained, excitement breaking through her usually reserved demeanor. The decision to proceed wasn't easy. Admiral Rodriguez voiced concerns about potential security risks, but the scientific consensus was clear. This was an opportunity humanity couldn't ignore. Construction began on the enhanced chamber, incorporating both the ancient instruments and new elements based on the alien specifications. During this period, something unexpected happened. Musicians and composers around the world began reporting strange experiences, melodies appearing in dreams, intuitive understanding of complex harmonic relationships that seemed to echo the alien communications. It was as if the contact had awakened something dormant in human consciousness. Dr. Petrov worked tirelessly with a team of quantum engineers to understand these effects. The alien signals aren't just communication, he revealed during a late-night session. They're activating neural pathways that have existed in our brains since prehistoric times. The music is literally evolving our consciousness. As the enhanced chamber neared completion, tension mounted in the facility. The alien signals had grown stronger, now carrying what appeared to be a countdown sequence. Whatever first contact would look like, it was clear that humanity's relationship with the cosmos was about to change forever. Nadia spent long hours in her office, reviewing the cave drawings that had started their journey. One image had always puzzled her, a circular pattern of figures surrounding what looked like a pillar of light. Now, with their new understanding, she realized it wasn't just a record of ancient ceremonies. It was an instruction manual for what they were about to attempt. The team made final preparations for the first test of the enhanced chamber. As they assembled the ancient instruments in their new configuration, Dr. Tanaka's instruments detected a surge in quantum activity from deep space. The aliens weren't just sending signals anymore, they were coming to meet us. In the quiet before the test, Nadia remembered the first notes they'd played in the cave, how they had seemed to awaken something ancient and profound. Now she understood, music wasn't just humanity's first art form. It was our first technology for transcending the boundaries of space, time, and consciousness itself. Harmony of species. The enhanced acoustic chamber rose like a modernist cathedral, its crystalline structures and polished surfaces designed to amplify and focus the quantum harmonics that now connected humanity with the distant stars. Dr. Marcus Blackwood walked the perimeter one final time, checking each instrument's positioning against the alien specifications they'd received. "The quantum field stabilizers are at full capacity," reported Dr. Viktor Petrov, his eyes fixed on readings that seemed to defy conventional physics. "The harmonic convergence is stronger than anything we've recorded before." In the control room, Admiral Rodriguez watched as technicians made final preparations. The facility had been evacuated except for essential personnel. No one knew exactly what would happen when they activated the chamber at full power. Dr. Yuki Tanaka's instruments showed the alien signals growing stronger by the hour, converging on their location with purposeful intensity. "All original instruments are in position," Nadia announced, placing the last bone flute in its designated spot. The ancient tools of their ancestors now stood alongside cutting-edge quantum technology, a bridge between humanity's past and its possible future. Thomas Chen, who had shown the strongest psychic response to the prehistoric music, volunteered to be part of the contact team. He sat within the inner circle of instruments, alongside Dr. Esther Okoro and a carefully selected group of musicians and scientists. Their role was to help facilitate the harmonic interface between human consciousness and whatever was approaching from the stars. "Signal convergence in 15 minutes, Dr. Tanaka reported, her voice steady despite the tension. The countdown began, each second marked by the soft pulse of quantum monitors. As the moment approached, Dr. Jun Zhou made a startling observation. "The cave paintings," he said, pulling up digital images on the main screen. "They're changing." The ancient artwork they'd documented months ago was somehow shifting, revealing new patterns and symbols that seemed to flow like liquid across the stone surfaces. "It's a quantum echo," Dr. Petrov explained, his theory confirmed by rapidly shifting data. "The original contact event is resonating through time itself. What we're seeing in the cave isn't just art, it's a four-dimensional record of what's about to happen." The chamber began to hum with subsonic frequencies as the countdown reached its final minutes. Thomas closed his eyes, his hands moving instinctively across invisible instruments. "I can hear them," he whispered. "So many voices singing across the void." At precisely the designated moment, the team began playing the ancient melody, their music enhanced and amplified by the chamber's quantum architecture. The air itself seemed to crystallize, forming patterns of light and sound that defied normal physics. The boundary between music and mathematics, between sound and consciousness, dissolved. What happened next would be debated by scientists for generations to come. The chamber filled with a luminescence that seemed to emanate from everywhere and nowhere at once. Within this light, forms began to take shape, not solid matter, but patterns of pure consciousness given momentary form through the power of harmonic resonance. They were beautiful and impossible, beings of pure energy that moved like music made visible. Their communication came not in words, but in waves of pure understanding that washed over the human observers. Images and concepts flooded their minds, the history of a civilization that had evolved beyond physical form, achieving immortality through the manipulation of quantum harmonics. "They've been waiting for us," Nadia realized, tears streaming down her face as the knowledge transferred. "Since they first encountered our ancestors, they've been guiding our development, helping us understand music as the fundamental language of consciousness itself." The aliens, though that term seemed inadequate now, shared visions of a universe far grander and more mysterious than humanity had imagined. They revealed how consciousness itself was a quantum phenomenon, how harmony and resonance were not just principles of sound, but the very foundation of reality. The music humans had created over millennia wasn't just art. It was preparation for joining a vast community of conscious beings across the cosmos. Admiral Rodriguez, watching from behind protective screens, saw her security concerns transformed into wonder. This was not an invasion or a threat. It was an invitation. The beings had come not to conquer, but to welcome humanity into a galactic symphony of consciousness. As the contact continued, Dr. Petrov's instruments recorded changes in the quantum field that rippled out across the planet. People everywhere reported strange dreams filled with music, sudden bursts of creativity, and an inexplicable sense of connection to something vast and beautiful. The ancient instruments played on, their simple melodies now part of a complex harmony that bridged worlds and species. In this moment of transcendence, humanity began to understand its true place in the cosmic orchestra, not just observers of the universe's grand symphony, but essential players in its ongoing composition. What the team didn't yet realize was that this was only the beginning. The quantum harmonics they had unleashed were about to reshape human civilization in ways that would make even their wildest dreams seem tame by comparison. As the light in the chamber slowly faded, leaving them changed forever, they began to understand that music wasn't just a universal language. It was the key to humanity's next evolutionary leap. The Eternal Song. 1 year after first contact, the world had changed in ways both subtle and profound. The enhanced acoustic chamber, now replicated in facilities across the globe, served as humanity's first embassy to the cosmic community. Dr. Nadia Patel stood at the entrance of the original facility, watching as another group of students arrived for their harmonic training. "The transformation happens faster in the young ones," Dr. Esther Okoro observed, reviewing the latest data on neural development. Children exposed to the quantum harmonics showed remarkable increases in cognitive ability, emotional intelligence, and most surprisingly, a natural understanding of advanced mathematics and physics. The beings they had contacted, now known as the Harmonious Ones, had shared knowledge that revolutionized human understanding of consciousness and reality itself. Dr. Viktor Petrov's quantum theories had been validated and expanded, leading to breakthroughs in fields ranging from medicine to space travel. "We're recording unprecedented levels of quantum coherence in group performances," Dr. Marcus Blackwood reported during the monthly review meeting. The new generation of musicians didn't just play music. They wove patterns in the quantum fabric of reality itself, creating effects that seemed like magic to their predecessors. Thomas Chen had become the head of a new discipline combining music, physics, and consciousness studies. His students learned to navigate the quantum harmonics with increasingly sophisticated control, opening channels of communication with civilizations across the galaxy. "Every species has its own unique signature in the cosmic symphony," he explained to a group of visiting dignitaries. "But together, we create something greater than any could achieve alone." Dr. Yuki Tanaka's astronomical observations revealed a universe far more alive and connected than anyone had imagined. The space between stars hummed with quantum frequencies, a vast network of consciousness and communication that humanity was only beginning to understand. The universe isn't just expanding, she explained. It's composing itself into ever more complex harmonies. Admiral Helena Rodriguez, initially skeptical of the alien contact, had become one of the program's strongest advocates. The military applications she had once feared were transformed into tools for healing and connection. "We were looking for weapons," she admitted during a public address, "but we found something far more powerful, a way to unite consciousness itself." In the Carpathian cave where it all began, Dr. Jun Jo led a team studying the ever-evolving cave paintings. The ancient artwork had become a living record of humanity's journey, shifting and changing to reflect new developments in the species' understanding. "Our ancestors knew," he said, touching the warm stone walls. "They encoded this knowledge in art and music, trusting that we would eventually understand." The implications extended beyond Earth. The first human quantum ships were under construction, designed to travel through space on waves of harmonic resonance. These vessels would carry humanity to the stars not through brute force, but through an understanding of the universe's fundamental music. But perhaps the most profound changes were the smallest ones. Around the world, people reported a growing sense of connection, not just to each other, but to life itself. The ancient instruments, now understood as sophisticated quantum tools, had awakened something dormant in human consciousness. Music became more than entertainment. It was a way of touching the infinite. Nadia often returned to the cave, sitting in silence where that first ancient melody had been discovered. The simple bone flute that had started their journey now seemed both primitive and infinitely sophisticated, a key that had unlocked humanity's cosmic destiny. One evening, as she sat analyzing data in her office, she received an unexpected transmission through the quantum network. The harmonious ones had shared a new revelation. The universe itself was approaching a harmonic convergence, a moment when all conscious beings would play their part in a cosmic symphony that would reshape reality itself. "We didn't just discover humanity's first song," she realized. "We found our part in the universe's eternal composition." The musical instruments from 30,000 years ago weren't just tools for making sound. They were humanity's first step toward its ultimate destiny as part of the cosmic orchestra. As she looked out her window at the stars, Nadia could feel the quantum harmonics pulsing through reality, carrying messages and consciousness across the vast distances of space. Somewhere out there, other species were making their own discoveries, finding their own paths to the universal symphony. The first song ever played on Earth had started as a simple melody in a dark cave. Now it had become humanity's gateway to the stars, a key to unlocking the deepest mysteries of consciousness and reality. As Nadia listened to the quantum harmonics singing through her consciousness, she understood that this wasn't the end of the story. It was just the beginning of humanity's eternal song in the cosmic symphony. Far above the Earth, in the quantum fields that connected all things, the music played on, growing ever more complex and beautiful as new voices joined the chorus. Humanity had found its voice in the cosmic choir, and the universe itself resonated with the promise of what was yet to come.